3, 2, 1, 0.
We're opening up our Phoenix, Arizona church tonight. Praise God. In Phoenix, Arizona.
Been attending Faith Christian Center since day one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're charter members. Came when church first opened up, 1997.
How would you describe it? Day one.
Very few people.
It was in a different location.
It was, I think, the first row, maybe the first 2 rows.
We started off in the small, at the hotel, right? Embassy Suite. Yeah, it was at the Embassy Suite. And it was like 44 members at that time. So, yeah, we were very excited.
It was exciting because we were in our 20s. We were newlyweds. We had only been married for 4 months when the church started.
We were praying that we would have a pastor that would stay here. We had 3 or 4 different pastors at that time, and we were looking for, a pastor that was going to be here for the duration.
It was Bishop Butler.
Yep.
It was his son, Pastor Andre, that was our pastor. Like, he was 19 or 20 when he became our pastor.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then there was Pastor Scott.
Pastor Scott.
And then, because Pastor Scott, I think, came like pretty much right out of ministry school here. So Pastor
and
Moore.
I think we expected Pastor Scott, after he had been here for a while, to
be our
the permanent
pastor.
senior pastor. And when that didn't happen, there was
it was some
interesting
controversy.
time.
It was very controversial.
And,
it was.
And when you talk about the structure, after he left, we needed a Pastor Moore to bring stability and structure. And he definitely brought that.
He definitely did.
Do you remember what you said about Pastor Sean?
Oh boy.
Let me.
I better be careful.
I
you
remember.
Just go right ahead, because you have the steel trap mind.
You said that now that's a young man that could be my pastor.
That's right.
And
I did
so
say
it
that.
began.
Here we go.
Let's get started.
My first day here at FCC was in June of 2003. It was the second day I had ever been in Arizona in my life. I was reassigned to Faith Christian Center Phoenix by my pastor. It was a big change for the church, also a big change for me in leaving Akron, Ohio and relocating here. I stood in the back on my first day just to kind of shake hands with people, and I could visibly see that it was a very tough time for some of the congregation at the time. And I was committed, though. It wasn't the first time I'd ever been through transition, and so I was committed just to do whatever I had to do to kind of help the church heal and get to a place where we were really ready to move forward into the future that God has for us.
After a couple years of him being here, we kind of felt in our spirit that this was the right pastor for our church and our growth, and that's what we needed at that particular time.
We had never had a senior pastor other than Bishop Butler before that. Everybody else was a co-pastor.
Yeah, and you still had, because of what had previously happened, you still had that kind of nervousness about, okay, is he going to stay?
Are we going to get attached to him and then he's going to be gone?
And that's what was happening. Right? You get attached, and boom, it's like you just ripped him out. Or he was just ripped out. But Pastor Moore, when he himself said out of his own mouth, "I'm your senior pastor, I'm not going anywhere," that was reassuring, and that's what happened.
Well, the first time I came, I was an invited guest, and it was on a Wednesday night. And I remember when I first walked in, I saw Pastor, and the first thought I had was, what does this young man have to say? I think he was about 29 at the time. And then he opened his mouth and he started teaching, and the rest is history. I felt like he was wise beyond his years.
Came here, I saw Pastor Sean preaching, and I was like, oh, I'm at home. Because he has this swag about him that only Detroit people would know.
Coming into the sanctuary, I loved it. Of course, worship and People were friendly.
The moment that I stepped foot in the parking lot, I was overwhelmed with love. I felt like, oh my gosh, do they know me? Like everybody was saying hi, from the parking attendant to anybody that I was passing to get to the congregation.
I just remember pulling up to the outside of the building and I was like, oh, okay. And then coming inside and was like, this is not what I was expecting.
Not at all.
And then just the love that you really felt, like I got like 16 hugs before I took my seat. And just the whole atmosphere of pretty much everything. It was Pastor was in a series called The Chair, and I remember him talking about flatulence in the chair and how many times someone farts in a chair during a service, and I was like, yes, this is the place for me.
Culture's changed quite a bit over the years, particularly as we've implemented our code of values, and just the style of kind of the church has shifted a bit over the years.
I think my biggest adjustment was how people dress. You know, I looked at it as they just dress any kind of way to go in to serve God. Never seen this before, you know, but it's not about what you wear, you know, it's about what's in your heart.
I've been able to see a shift, not just in our church from a design perspective, having a new logo, the sanctuary looks completely different, but just the shift in the people. And so those changes have just been huge. Seeing the new faces, seeing the diversity within FCC.
The way we do worship, right? It speaks to the new generation that's coming, as well as it still brings comfort to those who are part of the older generation as well, because it's still based on the word, but it has a fresh new vibe that we didn't necessarily have before he came.
The water baptism was up at the stage. The nursery was in the bookstore. The kitchen was where we sell our CDs. And so, I mean, we came a long way.
Back in the day, for those of you who don't know, we used to have a classic welcome song, right?
The welcome song?
We used to sing the first time visitor song.
So the newcomers would stand up and the whole congregation would turn and sing to them.
Let me start the beat.
Oh, you can do the beat.
Ready?
That track.
We don't care what church you belong to.
Just as long as for Jesus you stand.
So today, if your heart is with my heart,
you're my sister, you're my brother.
So please give me your hand.
Hi, neighbor.
Kind of missed that, but.
People really did have like an emotional response to it, because some people would cry because it's so emotional.
And there were some people that would say, that was weird.
I said I was 100% committed to whatever your vision is here at the church, what God has led you to do at the church, not what the past pastor had did. You know, we're ready to be on board to what your vision is and how the church grows. And you look at it now, wow, unbelievable.
Really coming to a church that actually meant and walked the walk. And their vision wasn't just something that was written down on a piece of paper that they put out on a flyer every Sunday. It was something that was ingrained into the church. So it reminded me that, you know, principles and the things that you live by define you.
When we were in transition, right, that's a big word, transition, especially when you spent years and years at a church, we knew that this was the place that we needed to land. And so when we got here, there was immediately a peace. There was like a sense of relief that we were in a safe place.
You know, the baptism, and I said, well, I want to do it. And my wife said, I want to do it too. And I told the kids, if you guys want to do it, it's your decision. And we left it up to them. Not even an hour later, they all said they wanted to do it. So we all got baptized as a family on that day in July. And it was just, oh, I can't, like my wife said, there's no words to express how we felt when we got baptized as a family.
I was just in a really bad place. I was backslidden and I was angry, I was hurt, and I had a lot of hurt from church, and so I just didn't want to be at church anymore. But I knew that church is where I needed to be, and so I came here from a couple of friends that had invited me years prior. I remember the praise team was singing Whatever You Want and Need by Lexi, and from the moment worship started, God just encountered me, and I remember crying all the way through worship, laughing through the whole sermon, and by the end of service, I was standing at the front rededicating my life. And so while I didn't want to be here, I'm so glad that I was here, because God met me and changed my life.
We really are trying to exemplify what were the teachings from Pastor Sean and Pastor Erica. And it's becoming a domino effect with my children, because they are here, they are taking notes, and they are like, how can we be used by God? They talk about God being used as a privilege.
On our website, it talks about raising leaders. And I think that being able to serve with young people and assisting them and helping them being leaders, not only before they just come to church, but being trained here at FCC and then going into their schools, going into their community, going home, and being able to be that difference maker that we trained them to be, and bringing people to Christ as well.
I would definitely say one of the first major things we experienced here was healing. You know, we've experienced church hurt from our past, and we've had a lot of difficult church experiences that weighed heavy on us, that kind of left bad taste in our mouth when it came to like leadership and things like that. So to be in a place where, and it wasn't like something specifically was done. It wasn't like we shared with someone, hey, we had church hurt and we need healing. That wasn't what happened. It was just being in the house and experiencing the word that came from the pulpit, experiencing the love of the community. Literally, this church, FCC, changed the way that we see church.
I didn't know it was Men Camp Sunday at the time, and so my wife and I were here. We had been praying and looking for a church, and the service was phenomenal. And so we knew instantly coming that, you know, this is exactly what we wanted to be. But coming the following Sunday, see, we didn't know. Men Camp Sunday, Pastor Vega ministered and Adam Rainey led worship. So the following Sunday, when neither of those people were in attendance, we were like, what is going on here? We've been bamboozled. This is a completely different church. But luckily, light skin leadership of Pastor Sean gave a phenomenal word, and actually Minister Angela led worship. And we still knew, it was still like on our hearts of this is exactly what we needed to be.
The sense of community here at FCC has really, really grown over the years. You can see all of the relationships that are being forged outside of the Sunday experience, be it through small groups, some of the fellowships that people have and are hosting in their own home.
We've developed, brotherhoods and family and everything that we can ever dream of and imagine, especially being from two different places. Me being from California, my wife being from North Carolina, we found our extended family and our permanent family here. So it's just been, we couldn't ask for any better place, any better church to raise our kids in, to be a family, and to just grow as individuals.
When I got here, I was broken. I was not in a good place. I had recently been divorced, and so I needed love and to be loved on from like a group of people that I could trust. And so quickly, like joining the worship team made me get that community and the trust from people who weren't my family, but then quickly became my family.
I moved to Arizona with not a lot of friends and family out here. So once I got involved volunteering at FCC, I was able to build a community with a bunch of young people who are around the same age as me, and it's definitely helped me stay focused on my walk with God, my spiritual development. We hold each other accountable, and being at FCC is just like, it's the icing on the cake.
So many great relationships, from a brotherhood, from having best friends that were formed here, and now having people who I consider actually family. So a lot of great relationships have been formed that will last a lifetime for me.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be a leader. It is a huge responsibility, but we get tremendous rewards. And I think the greatest reward is seeing someone's life change for the better and knowing that you had a part to play in that. That is more beneficial than anything anyone could ever give.
FCC has helped me become a better leader because it gave me the opportunity to even be a leader. And so just with being a volunteer and then leading a small group and now being on staff, it really showed me that how I am every day, how God made me, that is enough for me to be a leader.
I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, that people just felt so free here and felt it was home. It was immediately like, oh yeah, I need to be invested in here. How do I get connected?
People have said that, like, my beliefs are not even what yours are, but what I can see is the genuineness in the congregation. And to me, that changes the way that people see church.
We have quite a few members here, but I think it's so empowering when it is you start to make disciples, because those disciples then multiply and they make other disciples. And so I think just the direction of discipleship and then also building up leaders, which is a part of the vision here, is to raise up Davids and whatever the female version of the David is, to raise that up, Davishas, I don't know. But to raise up the Davids and the Davishas, I think that is just, that's setting us up for God to do the expansion that I believe has always been a part of the plan.
I really see us changing the way people see church through the creativity changing. So I think that, our outreach endeavors, I think that honing in on the skills and really tapping into the resources that we have here so that we can make an impact.
I can see us planting churches. So the vision that we carry here about changing the way people see church, I see that happening in different cities across Arizona. And it's important and it's needed.
I see we continuing to, even if it's a satellite and it's autonomous in its governance, it's still going to embrace the code and the vision, because that is the common denominator.
Every time I come to this church here, I go across the street and lay hands on the dirt. I'm saying that we're going to move there and visually see what all the buildings and how people are going to come here from all these neighborhoods and stuff all around, knowing what and seeing what God has done in the ghetto.
When I think about the future of FCC, I think that up until now, what God has done in our church has been about addition. I feel that where the Lord is trying to take us in the future is to move us from addition to multiplication. And I think it's coming up time for us to take this work that has started here 25 years ago and to make sure that it doesn't stay here, but that it spreads to other places so that other people have an opportunity to receive what we've been able to receive as a faith community.
I truly feel like Pastor Moore and Pastor Erica, like if they never did anything else at Faith Christian Center, they really have fulfilled the part of the scripture that talks about that they do the work for the equipping of the saints. Like they have fully equipped us with what we need in order to do what God has called us to do. And I pray that all of us who are in the congregation, we figure out what God has specifically appointed us and anointed us to do so that we can continue this.
The future of FCC is multiplication.
Abundance.
Expansive.
Purposeful.
The stars.
Excellence.
Bright.
Home.
Dynamic.
Hope.
Expansive.
Change. Kingdom building.
Love.
Growth.
Expansion.
Heaven.
Increase.
World domination.
Legacy.
Amazing.
The future of FCC is whole nother level.
Happy anniversary, FCC.
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 Happy anniversary, FCC. Happy anniversary, FCC.
Happy anniversary, FCC.
Happy anniversary, FCC.
Happy anniversary, FCC.
Happy anniversary, FCC.
Happy anniversary, FCC.
Happy anniversary, FCC.